or whether you're thinking about seeing a physio for some advice on pain and trying new exercises and reducing your risk of injury and that sort of stuff, the first thing to consider is actually how in check or how well built is your physical wall, and how well built are the other three walls of your life, and are they even, or have you got a really big physical wall, like you're exercising awesome, you eat really well, maybe your physical wall is in check, you're doing that awesome, but maybe your relationships aren't great, and maybe your mental health could do with some work, or maybe you hate your job, it sucks, you don't want to be there anymore, so every time you go to work for 8 hours a day you're just depressed and sad. So if that's the case, then that wall's a lot smaller and your roof is going to be all over the place. So it's about making sure that you're equally paying in to the 4 different components of your life, and none of us are perfect. Like, I've worked with some of the top athletes in their fields, and they all have the occasional drink here and there, they all miss bedtime here and there. They obviously don't do that when they're in the lead up to a preparation for an event, because they know that their physical health is already being pushed because we're already pushing their load. But they're also keeping in check other aspects of their lives. A lot of them will work with them with sports psychologists to help manage the pressure of
the game and
just the lifestyle. It can be a bit antisocial, so it's about them trying to find structures and ways to do that. And I don't know if you remember, Simone Biles was a really vocal person for talking about mental health in sport, and I'm so glad that there's a lot more discussion around mental health now, not just in athletes but also in just the general population, because I think she lost her aunt or something in the run up to the event, and she also had an injury at the start of the year, and she had a whole bunch of other things that kind of put little cracks in different aspects of her health house, and unfortunately her house just wasn't in the position to deal with the Olympics when they rolled around, and she completely made the right decision for her, and I'm really proud of anyone who can stand up and say I'm not where I need to I'm not where I need to be for this, and doing it is going to make me at risk of something, and she talked about getting, what do they call it in gymnastics, where you get something like the spins or something, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but she's talking about how, because the mental health side of it was not there, she was putting herself at risk of physical injury, and that I think is a very easy example to understand, is because obviously if mentally you're not in it and you're flipping around and doing all sorts of insane stuff, which she does,
you can injure yourself.
You can injure yourself. But I also think we can look at that just in terms of ourselves as a whole. If our mental health is struggling, we're a bit anxious or a bit stressed, we have an argument with our partner, then our tolerance of our physical self not being optimal is a lot lower. Like, if I have a big argument with a partner or with a family member or something like that, then my ability to cope with a lack of sleep, or my ability to deal with hunger,
do an exercise,
it is not great. I'm going to give up a lot quicker. I'm going to maybe end up in pain, and if I'm not careful, I could injure myself because I'm just not there with it. And so I think if we come back to again what our job as physios is it's about recognizing that there's a crack or some damage to that physical aspect, and then trying to help make sure that we keep the other wall strong so that they can support the injury, and so that we can reduce your pain, because pain is, if we look at it in, again, in regards to Hauora, which is how I predominantly think of pain is and it's very well researched, I'm not making this up. We'll talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk a lot more about pain. It's a very interesting...
In every episode almost.
It's a very interesting concept, because pain is not actually a sensation, it's more of an interpretation or perception of different signals and information that the body's getting, or that the brain's getting from the body, sorry. So if we look at pain with regards to kind of Hauora, then pain is an indication that any area of the house is at risk or has something going on. And so pain doesn't just have to be fitting into that physical, injury, pain can be a lack of sleep, which can be caused by stress. So if we address your stress, we can address the sleep, and then we can get you addressing your pain. Likewise, pain can also be a direct reflection of like financial stresses. So, you know, if you're struggling with work and feeling like you're not fitting in, that might cause some financial stress, and again, that can cause pain, and it's actually a really big contributor to low back pain. So, you know, while I think the biopsychosocial model is a good step forward, and I do like to see that more healthcare systems are moving from it. I think its biggest limitation is that it's just the healthcare system.
Exactly.
Yeah, like it's not looking at society, and it's not. It's not kind of. I mean, its goal is to empower people to take control of their own health by looking at the psychosocial aspects of their life, and you know, I think as physios, that's really where we need to focus our effort, is on getting the right diagnosis, so dealing with the bio side, and then addressing the psychosocial stuff, and taking it that step further, and not just addressing the psychosocial stuff with the individual, but also promoting healthier communities. And that's, you know, again, I think that's where this extra layer of information with Haora comes in, is that it's not just about you, it's about the society that you fit into, your work.
And when you change that, like when you change the whole, not change, but when you implement this into society, you'll see the difference, and then like every individual will make this change. The society in whole will make this change, and this will impact like on healthcare system, or on government,
like we say, what is it, that it's like 70% of, well, 60 to 70% of low back pain is non-specific low back pain. I mean, I know I've heard stats of it being as high as 80% in some places, and that astronomical cost to the healthcare system. If we can reduce that non-specific low back pain just by helping make societies healthier, and you know, having better coping mechanisms for stress, and better management strategies for poor sleep, and healthier relationships,
more education about recovery,
and like healthier relationships and all of that sort of stuff, then you know, we can take a huge amount of that cost away from the healthcare system, and that means the healthcare system's got much more capacity to deal with what it actually needs to be dealing with, which is the medical side of things.
Especially like now, like in the past 2 years, we should by now learn that the amount of pressure that was on like the healthcare system and doctors and nurses. I mean, if we could take that pressure from them, as you said, like
I mean, I think that, you know, like I think COVID's been horrible. Don't get me wrong, but one positive, if we're going to take a positive away from it,
there's always a positive thing,
is that well, I mean, it's been a double-sided, you know, double-edged sword, in that, you know, it has got a lot of more people to shift their focus on what is really important to them. It's allowed us to work remotely, which means, you know, people have a lot more control over work-life balance. And it's also encouraged a lot more discussion around stress, anxiety, sleep, recovery, and health as a whole, and looking at health as not just, you know, a disease process that's happening, but actually all the consequences of a disease process. And you know, if you fit that health model onto the society as a whole with COVID, you know, the society has had its physical health damaged somewhat with COVID, and we're addressing that with that medical fix of vaccination, but it's also caused issues with our sense of community and with our relationships with family. Like, for example, I haven't seen my family in 2 years now. It's caused issues with stress and anxiety, so like our mental and emotional health. And I don't think there's anyone who's been immune to those changes. Like, whether or not, you know, you've personally been affected by COVID, somewhere along the line your house has probably been damaged, whether you had to be in a lockdown and maybe your physical exercise, you know, wasn't where it should be,
or let go of your job, because a lot of jobs like let go of their employees. So the amount of stress.
So I think it's, you know, it's important that we start to look at health not just as the disease, but actually all the other aspects of what health and wellness really is about, and how do we fix that? Because we know that the vaccine is not going to be the thing that just fixes COVID now. There's so many things that have been left over as a result of it, with the economy and like you said, job loss and that sort of thing, that we now need to start talking about how do we rebuild society stronger. And vaccination and bolstering our healthcare system is an important part of that. And so, I think taking this burden of some of these non-medical conditions off the healthcare system is really important, by helping businesses and governments and communities protect themselves against stress and anxiety, and protect themselves against unhealthy relationships, so helping support families and single moms, and
there's a lot of damage in the world, like in a lot of aspects. We should focus on those
and then also just about building up healthy communities, getting people to have that sense of community back again. So I think there's some really exciting stuff that's going to come out from COVID. I'm hopeful. I choose to be hopeful about it.
Hopefully,
because I think there's been a massive change in technology. I remember Zoom being such a massive growth platform at the start of COVID, because it had to. And I think now we have to take that to the next level with asking more from our companies to protect us from the effects of pandemics, with the effects of stress. I remember talking to people who are working 16-hour days, which is insane.
But even we know some cases where people had their strokes or in work,
and heart attacks and stuff at work,
and that's not healthy, and that's not how it's supposed to be.
And I think that's an indication that there was a vulnerability in the health of the company and the health of the people in the company, and that wasn't necessarily caused by an illness. It was caused by a lack of protective strategies around protecting the physical body when the other aspects of our health are vulnerable. And I think companies and governments, but particularly companies, have a long way to go in looking at how they can protect staff from overworking, how they can maximise staff sense of satisfaction, how they can make sure that staff have adequate time to sleep, eat, recover, do all their socialization, and cook a home cooked meal, exercise enough during the week that they're meeting their physical needs, sleep enough that they're meeting their physical needs. Obviously, it's an individual's responsibility to make sure that they do those with the time that they're given. But, a 16-hour workday doesn't allow for...
and you think that with COVID, we should have learned that by now, but still, we keep saying that. Because with COVID, people were working remotely or working less hours, and they were still getting the job done. So,
and I think that's the thing I find really exciting about this. We know it can be done.
Exactly.
And we know that...
you don't need to sit in an office for 9 hours.
Working from home does give people so much flexibility in terms of if you want to work out at lunchtime, you can have your workout at lunchtime, and then you can shower, between your meetings in the afternoon, and you can still get all your work kind of done. And I think that's kind of for me, I see that as a really exciting thing that companies can kind of grab onto and take hold of, and giving their staff that power to balance their work-life balance better, so that they can then take care of their own health house, and as a byproduct of that, take care of the society's health house and your company's health house and that kind of thing. So we've kind of moved on a little bit from what we were talking about, but I think it's actually
an important topic that we should discuss. Because as an individual, when you know that, and when you know the difference between the biomedical model, biopsychosocial model, and how it affects your daily life or your health life, your wellness and your well-being, you can implement that change. When it starts with an individual, it will start to build up as a community, as a society, and then as a company, and hopefully on government.
For me, it's about putting protective strategies in place. So I have little rules that help me protect myself against damaging my health house. And so those are things like, you know, with my physical well-being and making sure that, you know, I exercise at least every 3 days. I do certain things around that. I make sure that I go out dancing at least once a week so that I'm meeting my community engagement and my social needs. I make sure that I talk to a family or friend member every week, especially at the moment because I'm so far away from them all. So those things are all things I consider non-negotiable, and are protective strategies for me, for my lifestyle, to make sure that I deal with an aspect of my health house every week, and so that nothing gets left behind, and that, you know, ideally there's no vulnerabilities, and so that if something does happen, if I go outside and I roll my ankle, I've got protection against other things.
You could focus on this thing, give it your time, with other things would be also as a separate. And there are a couple of simple strategies that we get a lot of our clients to do, is, you know, setting up 20-minute workouts 5 days a week. You know, and then at least you're dealing with it 5 days a week. I don't care if you have to add those in and you do them 3 days a week. And they become 40-minute workouts. That's fine, so long as you're getting that the proper amount of exercise
on a relatively consistent, reasonable basis. And we manage you through that with that lifestyle management and load management stuff that we work on. And then other things like, you know, when you go home 8 p.m, non-negotiable, phones off. Like, you can have your phone on to talk to family members, but no one from work should be calling you.
No.
And I think those are like, there's lots of different little strategies that you can use that help you to protect those walls of your health. And I mean, I guess the big takeaway from this discussion is that you can't protect your physical well-being without protecting your other areas. If you just work on protecting your physical well-being, then we're still going to have pain and we're still going to be at risk of injury, because we're going to be taking things away from other areas of our life to try to keep our house strong, and that's not how it works.
It will make you wonder where that pain is coming from. Like, your physical well-being is good and it's fine, but where that pain will come from should make stress on you.
So I guess the challenge to you kind of next time you get pain, because we all experience pain and we experience it on a regular basis, which is normal and good and healthy. But it's our warning sign. It's kind of, if you think of it as like the security system for the house. So once you kind of get that experience of pain, I want you to start thinking, what actually might be contributing to it? Is my pain because I've been sitting at my desk all day and I'm writing something super stressful and it's getting to me? Maybe I just need to go out for a walk, get some fresh air, and not think about this for 10 minutes. Or maybe I need to call my wife or call my kids or something like that, and just take a different aspect of your life. And just try to take that pressure off that one area that could be causing it. I mean, the reality is if you haven't had any trauma, you haven't fallen over, you haven't lifted something oddly at the gym, you haven't, you know, had any of those kind of things, the reality is then the chance is that it's coming from either taking too much from your physical well-being, so not getting enough sleep, not eating right, those kind of things, or not doing enough exercise, or it's coming from one of those other aspects of your health house. So it's just about, I think, evaluating your lifestyle and evaluating your life and thinking, what else could be contributing to my pain that isn't necessarily an injury.
That's the thing with the, like, at the end with the biopsychosocial model, that it gives you the chance for you to treat yourself. Like, for sure you will need a healthcare provider to give you the education or the guidance, but at the end you will be responsible for your own health and your own body, and you will learn how to do that. So you won't need maintenance.
I mean, I think I think that thing of maintenance is your job is to maintain your house. You know, it's your job to find strategies that work for you, and you can dip in and out of the healthcare system when you kind of miss those little warning signs and that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, it's our physical well-being is only one component of our health, and I think it's one that we perhaps over-focus on, especially when it comes to pain. We always try to look for a physical cause of our pain, and it may not be the case for you. It may not be that you have a physical cause for your pain, and that can be so frustrating, particularly if you're in that biomedical system, because basically they go, oh, we don't know how to deal with you.
Yeah.
You're not physically sick. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
And that is so frustrating.
Yeah, because you will fall into more stress and pain. And
and it's also just doesn't tell the full picture. Like, something is wrong. Yes, something is wrong. It just might not be something that responds well to medication, and it might not be something that responds well to physical treatment because it's not necessarily a physical injury. It might be something that responds really well to building up your physical side, so increasing its capacity through load management and this kind of thing. But it might be something that benefits really highly from, just some lifestyle management strategies. How do we reduce stress so that you can sleep better? How do we manage your time at work so that you have time to eat, sleep, recover properly? Like, how do we manage your life so that you can,
all the corners will work together to give you the optimum.
How do we build up all the aspects of your life? So, I guess challenge for you is like I said, next time you have pain, try to think of what else could be contributing to it. And then also this week, try to think about what things you do to address all 4 aspects of those corners, or all 4 aspects of your health, and how can you safeguard yourself? How can you build up those walls so that they're as strong as they can be? And let us know how you get on. So thanks for listening.
This discussion.
I hope you enjoyed it, and we will talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.